I'm going to move on to the Timberwolves then, just so you don't get too frustrated.
Speaking of
I
teams that I can't figure out, I'm so glad you had the
Right,
Timberwolves.
right. And I might have gone an easier route here too. My number is 13, and I wanted, much like with Jokic, I wanted to take a second just to appreciate how fucking good Karl-Anthony Towns is at basketball. I think with Anthony Edwards ascending, he's drawn a little bit more attention. There's also just more attention paid to the Wolves as a whole because they're currently on pace to make the playoffs for the second time since 2004. But Towns, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like, he is a generational talent as an offensive center. And because he's not a defensive stalwart, because he's missed time, because he hasn't been on highly competitive teams, I just don't think he gets enough credit for being just this unbelievably talented. You can make a case that he is one of the, count him on one hand, best offensive centers of all time, just in terms of his pure skill set. So right now, Towns is averaging 24.1 points, 9.3 rebounds, and 3.6 assists, while slashing 51.0, 41.7, 82.7. Where 13 comes into the equation is he is currently on pace to become the 13th player in league history to average at least 24 points while taking more than 5 threes per game with a 60-plus true shooting percentage. The 12 who have already done it: James Harden, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, Zach LaVine, Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard, Devin Booker, LeBron James, Glenn Rice, Peja Stojakovic, and Boston Celtics Isaiah Thomas. Do you see any other centers in that group? Like, again,
No.
aside from like current season LeBron, but this is 2016-17 LeBron who joined that group. Like, it is totally unprecedented for a center to be this good as a volume scorer and floor stretcher. We have guys like Kristaps Porzingis who takes threes but doesn't make them. Joel Embiid falls into that category as well.
Who says that after saying there needs to be an all-star case for Kristaps Porzingis?
Let me play both sides of the fence. Jokic plays out on the perimeter, draws attention to the perimeter, and does take some threes, but not quite to the extent that Towns does. Just, if you watch him play, the shot-making ability that he has as a catch-and-shoot guy, playing off the bounce, controlling offense from the top of the key. Players his size are not supposed to be able to do that, to the point that they never have. There's not been anybody like him before, and that gets glossed over too frequently.
I think it's just because he's in the wilderness in Minnesota, and maybe not so much this year, but they just, whenever a player doesn't make the playoffs for a long time, and then the one year he did, you had Jimmy Butler there, the assumption nationally, or when you zoom out, or the laziest presumption would be it's on his fault. It's like the Zach LaVine stuff in Chicago for so long.
Right there with you.